Hey guys, we're back here and we're working on framing in this tiny house for you guys. So this type of framing is called platform framing. This is completely different than old framing where they would do balloon framing. We'll do a video just to show you the differences in that in the future. So this is our platform. Now we're ready to build our exterior walls. So the first step that you're going to do is you're going to frame your exterior walls. So you're going to want to know the outside dimensions of your house. Ours is 47.5 inches. Hopefully you're building a house bigger than that, unless this is maybe for a dog or something. But the point is you're going to take that total overall measurement and you're going to cut a minimum of 2 of your plates. You have 1 bottom plate and 2 top plates. Most of the time we just cut our top and our bottom, and then we come back and we cut our second top plate later. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start cutting our plates. So then what we like to do is we like to go ahead and we cut these for all the way around the house, okay? After you've cut your bottom and at least your first top, we always lay them out all the way around the house just to make sure that we're set up and good to go the way that we're gonna need to be. But then after that, the next step is you're gonna be pulling layout. And so to pull layout, we take our top and our bottom plate and we turn it on end. And you're always gonna pull layout from the outside. This does a couple of things. Number one, when you go to put your sheathing on, it makes sure that your exterior sheathing, it makes sure that it's gonna actually break on a stud. Number two, it ensures that along the run, that your trusses are gonna be set on some studs, which is gonna distribute that weight all the way down to the footing. So the way that we pull layout is pretty straightforward. Dimensional lumber, even though it's called a 2x4, if you watched our lumber explained video, is not 2 inches by 4 inches. It's actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So what we do is we lay our tape out all the way along the entire length of your top and your bottom plate. And then you're gonna go and you're gonna mark at your first 1.5 inches. And this is gonna be your last stud that gets installed on the wall. And then after that, you're gonna go to every red marker along your tape measure. And those red marks indicate a 16 on center. And you're gonna mark 3/4 of an inch on each side of that line. So we're gonna come here and we're gonna mark at the 15 1/4 and the 16 3/4. Then we're gonna go to the 32 and we're gonna mark 31 1/4 and 32 3/4. Now this is a small house, so we only have 4 studs, but it's 47.5 is our total distance. So we're gonna mark right here at the 46. And then what we're gonna do is we'll take our speed square and we're gonna go along that, ensuring that they're perfectly flushed up. If you have longer boards, a little trick is to just take a nailer. Can you grab that nailer, John? And get your boards perfectly flush like this. And then what he's gonna do is he's just gonna shoot a nail partially into it. And he's gonna do that along the run. And that's gonna make sure that your tops and your bottoms stay together the whole way. And then it makes it so that it's super easy to pull that nail going out, or going forward. So we've marked our 16 on center. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our speed square and we just mark all the way, and we put an X that means, hey, an actual stud is going here. We use C's for cripples, J's for jacks, K's for king studs, but X's indicate that it's gonna be a regular stud. So at this point, you need to figure out your wall height. Whenever you're figuring out your total wall height, you have to know what to cut your studs to. If you're using a typical 8-foot ceiling or you're doing a typical 9-foot ceiling, they actually sell studs that are pre-cut for that, and they're literally called pre-cut studs. For an 8-foot ceiling, you're gonna buy 92 5/8 length studs, and if you're doing a 9-foot ceiling, you're gonna buy 104 5/8. If you're doing something out of the ordinary, the typical rule of thumb is to take the total height and minus 3 3/8 inches for it. So what that does is, if you think about this 92 5/8, is we've added 4.5 inches. So if you just put in an 8-foot stud, we've added 4.5 inches between our double top and our single bottom plate. And so we have to make up some of that distance in order to make our height come out to our actual 8-foot. And so that 3 3/8 inches does a couple things. It helps to delete some of the room for the top and the bottom plate, but also leaves room for 5/8 drywall on your ceilings or your lids. But then it also gives you a little bit of room for flooring. And then that way, when you go to install drywall, it doesn't smash your drywall to the floor. You can actually fit 2 full boards of drywall in there. You've got your layout and you've established your total height of your ceiling. You're gonna cut your studs. Our studs are pretty short. Obviously, we're making a pretty small house. So they're cut to 20 inches and 20 3/4 inches. Whenever you're moving your tops or your bottom plates, you wanna make sure that you always carry them as a pair. Like I showed you earlier, you can use the nail trick. That's a great way to do it. But now it's time to separate them. So what you don't want to ever do is pick this up and turn it around, because that'll mess up your layout. At this point, separate your tops and your bottom plates, and you're going to put your studs in the middle. Knock your bottom plate off the wall. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sight every single one of your studs, and you're going to look for crowning. Crowning is hard to see on a 2-foot board, but what you're going to do is you're going to mark it so that all of your crowns are facing both directions. I've heard both ways, but we always crown our boards to the exterior on an exterior wall. But I've heard people make arguments for crowning them to the inside. Doesn't make sense to me. But now that you've crowned all your boards, it's time to nail your studs to your tops and your bottom plates. If this is an exterior wall that you're framing with a 2x6, it's going to get 3 nails where it joins to the top and the bottom plate. If it's a 2x4 wall, you need a minimum of 2 nails per each stud on the top and the bottom plate. Now that you've got your wall built, it is time to square it before you stand it up. There's a couple different ways to do this, but the most common and the absolute best way to do it is to measure corner to corner. So what you'll do is you'll hook your tape just like this, and I'm at 47 1/8, and then you're going to compare that measurement to right here. And this one is also 47 1/8. But let's say that it was 46 5/8, and this one was 47 3/8. What you're going to do is you're going to rack this wall to the opposite direction until those numbers perfectly line up. But after you get it square like this wall is really short, so we're not going to waste our time with it. You're going to put in either A, diagonal bracing just like this, or number 2, you're going to put in your sheathing. So if you're going to use sheathing when you go to stand your wall up, that's a great way to do it. It does add some weight to the wall, but that's not a huge deal. You need your sheathing to tie into not just your studs, not just your bottom plate, but you also need it to tie into your rim board and also your mud sill. And the best way to do this is that you will measure the total distance of your mud sill. So we're at 5 3/4 inches. And I usually take off a 1/4 inch for any kind of variance along the foundation wall. Little baby sheathing that we made for you guys is actually only 16 inches. So I'm going to put this at 5 1/4 right here. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark right at 16. And then we're going to go to our other side of our wall and we're going to do the exact same thing. 5 1/4, mark it to 16. Then we're going to take our chalk line. We're going to string it across. And after you do that, that's going to show you exactly where to put your sheathing. So as you can see, since we pulled our layout from the outside, if you look, our sheathing would break perfectly in the middle of our stud. But then also, go ahead and actually, let's just screw this to it, just so I can show them what it looks like when you go to stand it up. So now we've fixed this here. We're not gonna leave it on there, so we just lightly screwed it. I'm just doing this just to show you this is how you would sheet it if you're gonna stand the wall up with your OSB on it. So if you measured that, you chalked the line, subtracting the distance, what's gonna happen is when you go to stand the wall up, it should fall to where the bottom of your OSB is just above the very bottom part of your mud sill. At this point, you'd put in some temporary braces. You're gonna plumb this wall and get it exactly perfect. And then you're able to go ahead and tie it into your mud sill, your rim joist, everything the whole way. And then you're gonna come from the inside, and for every single stud, you're gonna end up putting 2 nails going each direction down into the floor. So again, we've stood both walls up, and now these two are butted together. And what you're gonna see is that what your corner ends up doing is it allows you to tie into this right here. So we shoot this from the outside, from this corner, going into this stud here. But it also allows you to get that insulation in behind there, okay? So corners kind of serve a two-part purpose. You've got all your exterior walls stood up. Now the next step is you got to cut your last top plate. As you can see here, these two walls are just butt joints. They just butt up to each other. So your second top plate is actually going to tie these walls in together. So you can measure your total distance of your entire wall and then put your top plate up there and just nail it. Or a lot of crews, they have a wall walker. That's a guy who walks on top of the walls, and he goes around and he's going to nail these. And as he does, he's going to nail 2 nails into over the top of each stud. And then on your 3.5 inch overlap down here, it's going to get 3 nails. Then what he can do is he can just come up here and mark this and cut it while he's up there, and then just go ahead and nail it. We usually just cut it on the ground since there's only 2 of us, and then we just put our top plate back up there. Now we've built our exterior walls, we have installed our second top plate, and now this is the time where we need to get some sheathing on this, but also this is the point where you can actually keep going up. You guys let us know in the comments if you guys want us to build a second floor to this, but effectively the process just repeats itself. We're going to install another set of rim joists. We're going to install our joists. We're going to put our subfloor on there, and that'll be our second set of our second platform. We'll do another video showing you how to make stairs and stuff like that. But otherwise, if you were just doing a Rambler or a ranch style home, this is now where your rafters are going to end up sitting. So at this point though, guys, this is the basics of exterior walls and how to build them. The same principles apply for interior walls. You're still going to interlock them. On your second top plates, you're still going to square them, you're still going to plumb them the exact same way, still brace them the same way. But yeah, so if you like this video, like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments, should we build a second floor to this, or you guys just want to see how to cut some rafters in? So have a great day.